Hey guys, it's me, Focus Tiff here today, and I have been MIA on my vlogs for about a month, but today I really wanted to come back because, as you've seen in my last vlog, I was talking about vision, and I was really just seeing the passion in everybody on social media. It began to really affect me in a way because I could I could discern and I can see so many dreams that were being like destroyed, distracted, just not people not realizing their full potential. So I did take a social media break. But if you've been following my blog, I just wrote a blog recently stating that I am doing some soul searching and I want to make sure that I am living authentically. If anybody has been following me on social media for a period of time, you know that I made a big move in March. I call it the March Vision because I wanted to move to a place that I had never been, or not never been, but never lived before, because I've lived in the same city most of all of my life except for 2 years when I was in college in Irvine, which it was a good experience living in Irvine. But I was tired of it, and I saw so much, and that is why I decided to move, and I made the decision months ahead of time before I moved. So what I do want to say is, as soon as made the move, actually before I made the move, I started having of course it was people who had their own opinions about it, and whatnot. That can get distracting, at times when you are working on moving towards your dreams and goals and aspirations. People always giving their opinions, and sometimes you have to just learn how to say, I do not receive that, because what they say to you sometimes can just enter your head, and it's like you already had to go through that thought life and that thought process before you even made the decision to do that. And you talking about it, when you talk about it, people aren't as quick to confront you about it and say what they really think. But then when you actually do it, then you start hearing some real opinions, and if they really have this need for loving you, they want to protect you and keep you from harm and all of this stuff. Anyway, once you get to your place, there's still going to be battles. If you notice, Joshua, when he got to that land, the promised land, that they still had to do fights. And there's like, there was like things that happened, and like it drastically changed in my life. And when the things first hit me, I was like, okay, here we go, we know this is going to happen, right? We know that the enemy is going to try to do something to get you to go back. And then I got into a place of isolation because I really couldn't do anything about what was happening. And so I'm just sitting here like, okay. And so then I had to fight these thoughts in my own mind. And I was really trying to form new friendships and business partnerships, but the friendships weren't really working out. And I actually, I had started attending another church, and I was going to start serving, and then I was praying, and God was like, I didn't tell you to serve there. And so I was like, well, okay, like, well, get me back to my church. And so I have a testimony about that because I am back at my church. But It's just so interesting. But I was like, really, because today I went and took a test for a job that is not even in line with the vision. And what made me really think was, first I applied to the job. It was like the last day that the job was open. And the test, you had to take a test when you applied. And the test was getting on my nerves. Like, I was like, oh my goodness, it was giving you 3 minutes for each response. And they were like, you had to really think analytically on the questions. And so if I didn't have enough time to finish the question, then the next question that I went into, I am sitting there like, oh my goodness, like I'm frustrated over the one before. So I basically kind of was like, well, it doesn't matter because the job, it doesn't fit me anyway. It's not in line with my vision. Whatever, it paid well, but I was like, oh, it's not in line with the vision. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then so a few days later, I get a response back saying that I passed the test. I said, I said, you know what this is. And so you have to respond and say if you're going to go and take the next part of the test. And I was like, oh, I'm going to pray about it. But I didn't really have time to pray. Like, who doesn't have time to pray? I really, really wanted to, like, lay out before God, though, about it. But it shouldn't have been, I shouldn't have had to think that I had to do all of that, because I knew that it didn't line up with what I am seeking and what I'm going after in my dream. And so I got up this morning, and this morning I was like, okay, the test, I had to leave. I had to get on the bus at 5:50 in the morning to go take this test. And like the Lord wakes me up like at 2 in the morning. I went to bed like at 10 o'clock. So the Lord wakes me up at 2 in the morning, and He's showing me all of these things about decreeing and declaring, and I'm like getting excited about this stuff. And then so when I'm looking over that, I'm really like, my thought life really just went into like, do I really go take this test today? And I remembered, and I was sitting there and I was in conflict, because I remembered that they wanted you to respond whether or not if you were going to take the test, because if you weren't, they were going to call somebody else in to take the test. It's like, so much room that they can give per test. And so I was like, well, I said I would take the test if I don't show up. But I really kept thinking, like, I'm not being true to myself. And so, like, if you've been on my blog lately, you see that I am trying to live authentically. That's my goal. I'm going on the 40-day soul fast on September 4th, 2013, which is the first day of Rosh Hashanah, 5774. And or not the first day of Rosh Hashanah, but the first day of 5774. It's their New Year, Jewish New Year. And so I'm gonna start my soul fast on that day. And so I'm really sitting here like, is this really, am I being authentic? Am I really being me? I'm just taking this test because I told other people I was gonna take this test. Like, I don't even really want to take the test. I didn't study for the test. I don't even want the job. Like, it's okay, God can use me on the job, but that's not my calling. It's not my purpose. I went ahead and took the test anyway. But I did go pray it up. And what was interesting was, when I got there, like, I could feel the atmosphere. The people were nervous inside, and I just started praying. I was like praying that people would feel at ease and calm. And this woman was sitting next to me, and a man was sitting next to her. A black woman was sitting next to me. An Asian guy was sitting next to her, and it was a black woman sitting next to him. and the guy was like kind of nervous, and the woman on the end, she said to him like, what's wrong, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I have to take a test. And then she starts ministering to him and telling him how to put his trust in God, and you know, the Lord will work everything out if you just put your trust in him and all that stuff. So I started smiling. I was like, yeah, you know. And she's like, she started talking about the favor of God and how you know, she came here to apply for a job one day, and she went on the interview, and the guy was like, I just couldn't wait to interview you, because, and he didn't even really interview her. He was talking about God, and she was talking about God, and she was just hired like that. I'm like, wow. And what happened was, excuse me, I think that testimony was really, really good, because I've been praying about favor. And for her to say that, it was encouraging for me to know to keep moving in my dreams, and that I probably shouldn't even be at the test that day, you know, today. And everybody was all dressed up in their suits and stuff. And I remember looking in the test booklet, not per se for that particular office, but in general, you know how they have test booklets at the library. And I had checked it out, and it said to wear comfortable clothes, and you're not going to be interviewed. I wore comfortable clothes, and everybody's all dressed up in suits and stuff. And they say, we get up in the room and they're testing, and they say, oh, we're going to have interviews afterwards after you take the test. And so I'm sitting here like, for real? I said, if I pass this test, I am not interviewing with flip-flops on. Look, I got on flip-flops. I'm not interviewing with flip-flops. That is just, no. So the test was exactly the same as the online test. And so I'm sitting here like, for real? Like, you know, it got on my nerves the first time I did it. So I really didn't feel like answering the questions. And I just was like, I said, this is not, I'm not going to interview with these clothes on. I know this position is not for me. It's not in line with where I'm going. And then in addition to that, they have that option where you have to work holidays. I mean, you don't have to, but just if you're on a schedule, you're going to have to work holidays. You have to work a rotating shift. You don't know when you're going to have, you know, I guess it's every so many months. You can be AM, PM, graveyard. It's always switches up. You don't have the same schedule all the time. So that was an issue, because my son plays football, and I am not trying to miss his games and stuff by having to be at work, and or just even participating in his life. I can't do that. So I was like, when the questions seemed too hard for me to really think about, and it had all that stuff, you know, dealing with logic and, you know, that brain stuff, I was just like, whatever. And I just put whatever, I just clicked the button and clicked next. So I said, this would be interesting if I pass, right? And so we go to the you know, it's over with or whatever, and I go, and he tells me, and I see the paper, and because they have two papers, that one says congratulations on it, and then the other one says something else. I couldn't really see from there, but he picked up the one that didn't have congratulations on it. So I started putting my stuff in my bag, and I was like, okay, I didn't pass the test. But obviously, because I wasn't really trying to pass it, and I'm like, even if I passed it, I was going to have to interview with this on. Like, who goes on an interview with this? So I wouldn't have passed the interview. But I really just wanted to come out and say this, is because, like, I shouldn't have never even sent the application in. I looked at it a couple of times before I even applied, and I was like, like, no, I don't even need to apply. And then that last day that it was due, I went ahead and turned it in. And I'm just saying, like, that's one of those things where you just like, it's kind of like going on a date with somebody that's not your type, or not your type, but they don't like. You say like you want these qualities, it's like, say you want somebody who's a non-smoker, somebody who loves God, and you know, somebody who I don't know, who has good taste in music or something, and you find somebody who's just like is unsaved, or somebody, you know, who's smoking or whatever, and they have a lot of money or something, say they like rich millionaire, so that's why you go out with them anyway. But you know, like, you want to be authentic and you want to be real. You're not really a gold digger, and you know you're not a gold digger, so why are you on a date? Because you know you don't like people that smoke cigarettes. You know you don't want somebody that smokes cigarettes. But you went out and you just sitting there and you laughing and stuff, and you know you're not gonna see them again. You knew that before you even went on the date. So that's kind of like what applying for a job that you know you don't want is. It's a waste of time. So lesson learned. I wanted to talk about some other things, but I guess I'll do another vlog for that, because I had to go back to the Dream Giver, look at it, and kind of see like, where am I? Because why did I even apply for a job I didn't want? That was just a waste of time. It's not a waste of time because I actually am doing a vlog on it, so I'm putting some use to it. But all right, you guys, please visit my blog at focustiff.com, and I will hopefully be doing some writing on the Soul Fast, because this is really, really interesting. God is showing me a lot of things, and I do want to blog about it. So I think many people can be blessed, and I hope that you guys will join in with me on the 40-day Soul Fast starting September 4th. Have a great week. Bye, you guys.